You're listening to Seraphina Speaks for Children Who Think, the show that delivers you my take on topics that are important. I'm your host, Seraphina Melina Durbin. Let's go right ahead to the show, shall we? I'm going to level with you. This is a tricky episode. Let's talk tweens. I'm told tweens are 8 to 12-year-olds. Not little kids, but not yet teenagers. It's an in-between stage and I'm bang smack in the middle of it. I'm Seraphina Melina Durbin and this is Seraphina Speaks, a show for children who think. There's loads said about what happens when we're tweens. Up to about 8 years old, we have a self-focused view on the world. But when we become tweens, we start to care what other kids think about us. We might feel pressure to fit in. We can feel left out. And of course, we compare ourselves to people our own age. Side note, I'm realising I may not be typical. I'm wondering if being neurodiverse means I care less about these things. Anyhow, I'm told that our emotional and social development is on fast track. We're trying out independence, learning to regulate our emotions, and questioning who we are. We're learning to be human, as my mama says. Then there's all the physical changes going on. We grow a lot in these years just before we become teenagers. We don't all develop at the same rate, that would be totally odd. Imagine if we all morphed into new beings overnight. Suddenly there'd be all these awkward, clumsy tweens, coping with growing pains from our actual growth spurts. They're real, aren't they, listeners? I want to tell you a story. Come closer. I'm not really supposed to talk about this next tween thing, but that's the problem. I'm going to anyway. If not me, then who's going to say what it's like from the inside? It started with one little hair. I noticed it when I was about 8. Truthfully, it's hard to know because it must have been there growing quietly. At first, I was surprised that this one hair grew a bit each week. I checked my underarms for hair. Nope. Nothing there. It was only this one hair in a place I wasn't expecting. Once it grew long enough to tug straight out, about 9 centimetres long, I knew I have the kind of mama which I can brag about my one strong growing long hair to. I'm not sure she wanted as many updates as I gave her, almost on the daily, but hey, I was proud. I named my one hair Bob. Let's hear from my trusty sidekicks Montgomery and Horatio. They both have questions.
What was it like having one hair that grew and grew and grew, Seraphina?
Well, Montgomery, it's not like I had any control over this one long hair, is it? It kept sprouting on its own. All I could do is check its progress. At the time, I wondered how long it would get to be and whether any more hairs would come. I'll come back to that soon, though.
Horatio here. Why do you keep on showing Mama Bob the hair?
Yes, that's a great question. I can see why that might seem funny to you. I did it because I wanted Mama to know. I like sharing my unexpected hair progress. I wasn't feeling self-conscious about my changing body, not one bit. It's normal for our body to change. It's more than okay. Sharing my hair growth felt positive and celebratory. I'm taking a quick break from my Bob story to tell you about another podcast, when I listen to loads. When I come back, you'll hear what happened next in my hair story. In a later episode, I'm going to review the Australian podcast for kids called Short and Curly. I'm not kidding. Till then, my first podcast review celebrates a classic. The Alien Adventures of Finn Caspian. Host Jonathan Messenger is joined by his son Griffin and robot companion Bebop. It's a science fiction show, and it's a bit like Scooby-Doo in space. We play it on car journeys. Trust me, it's genius. Start at episode 1, or you won't know who's who. One of my favourite segments in this show is the section where listeners send in their cringy jokes. Here's my cringy joke. There's a robber going around stealing tyres, but the police are working tirelessly to catch Sorry, I'm back in the room now. I really like laughing at my own jokes. Apart from the story itself, I love the competitive and funny relationship between Jonathan and Bebop. The robot tries to become Big Boss host, and it's always proving it's the better one to lead the podcast. See who you think is the better host. I hope to feature Jonathan and Bebop. For the moment, they're away in space. You'll be the first to know when I hear from them. Let's go back to Bob, shall we? Fast forward weeks and a few months, and to my delight, Bob was joined by some friends. What I learned is that pubic hair doesn't need its own beauty routine. There's no need to treat it to a spa day. Shampooing and conditioning is unnecessary. All we need to do is wash regularly. Washing deserves a whole nother episode of its own in another season. A quick spritz with water and maybe a tiny bit of body wash just on the hair is enough. One important health note, I'm talking about pubic hair, not soap anywhere inside vaginas. These take good care of themselves without soap. Listeners, you might be asking why I'm choosing to talk about Bob. It's private and exposing, and I guess that's it. Because where do we learn about ordinary things that happen as we grow up if someone doesn't speak up? I live in a family where it's safe to talk about things like Bob. Being in safe company is important. I'm realistic too. I know telling you about something like this might set me apart from others. Here's the thing, we have to walk our own path, and that path won't always be like other people's. We need to learn self-advocacy so we can walk our own path. Advocating for ourselves means we understand our needs, know what kind of support might help us, and then we can communicate our needs to others. These skills are great for life. I'm inviting you to check in with yourself about how you feel about this episode. How have you been feeling when I'm describing my hair growth? I say this with love. It might be your problem, not mine, if you're feeling uncomfortable. Listeners, look out for the micro behind-the-scenes bulletin episode on this week's topic. If you'd like to join my correspondent team, first, leave a review for this show on your fave podcast app. Then take a screenshot and send it to me at Seraphina@seraphinaspeaks.com. That's Seraphina@seraphinaspeaks.com. Then I'll be in touch with you with more info about being on my show. Next week's episode is called My Anime Soapbox, and I'll do what it says on the tin. I'll jump on my soapbox to talk about anime. Hope you'll join me when I take on the joys and challenges of being an anime fan. Thanks for listening, everyone. Remember, smash that subscribe button and tell your friends, family, and teachers to listen in too. Till next time, take care. Wow, I hope you enjoyed the show, everybody. If you like what you hear, click the subscribe button. This podcast is made possible by listeners like you. Thank you for your support. Don't forget to leave me a review at iTunes or wherever you listen to your podcasts, because then more people can find my podcast.